Good good morning. Trying this again. Oh, good morning. Good morning, morning. There- Happy Earth Day. That's right. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pensacola, UUCP. My name is Ian Briggs. My pronouns are he and him, and I'll be your service leader for today. No matter if it's your first, 10th, 100th, or over 1,000th time here, no matter if you are here in person or watching later online, we'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy week to join us for fellowship. This church is built on love, acceptance, understanding, and curiosity, and that is because of all of you. If it is your first time here, here's a little bit about ourselves in case you wanted to know. We are a lay-led congregation, which means that instead of a preacher, reverend, minister, singular person, everything is ran solely by the members of this church. So in practice, that means that we have different speakers every Sunday, both from near and from afar, sharing with us their words of wisdom, putting on a musical performance, interactive panels, just all sorts of different things. There is something for everyone here at UUCP, always a different and new experience. If you would like more information about our church, we do have pamphlets. Look like this. You might have even gotten one when you came in. You're welcome to take one home, and if you didn't get one, they are in the lobby. You can also visit our website, you see on screen, uupensacola.org. Also, finding a friendly face generally works pretty well too. You can literally approach anyone in this congregation and they will tell you so much stuff. We're a pretty chatty bunch. And speaking of a chatty bunch, please join us after the service as well for coffee and snacks up in the conference room. Just go out the lobby, take a right, another right, and immediately a left, or you just follow everybody else. And I feel like I'm free. Oh, yes. And one last thing before I move on to the announcements. If you haven't done so already, please silence your phones and other electronic devices that makes beeps and boops, all those things. Thank you. Alrighty. I have a few announcements today. Let's see. In no particular order. All right. Take me out to the Blue Wahoos. Thursday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Let's get together for some fun, fellowship, and baseball. See Mary Beth Ramsey for details. And if I remember correctly, you want to know by the 26th, next Sunday. There you go. Just let her know if you're interested in joining. So there's that. All right, next one was briefly on the slide before I started. Today is the last day to give feedback on the long-term planning committee. If you'd like to participate, again, the last one, just meet in the library, right out there in that little room in the lobby, at 11:30 after the service if you'd like to participate. This 5-year plan will be presented at the congressional meeting in May, which is just around the corner. So if you'd like more information, please see Brett Ramsey for details. There he is with his hand up. All right, again, last one. All right, next thing, let's see. Do you watch or read former New York Times columnist David Brooks? Do you want to know how to connect with others? There is a book discussion next week, April 26th, after Sunday service for David Brooks' book, in quote, How to Know a Person. The book discussion will be in the library and facilitated by today's speaker, Lauren Onsato. So that's next Sunday. Hold on. Check that. Okay. All right, next one, actually, is the Nehemiah Action. That is coming up on Tuesday, April 28th. It'll be at 6 p.m. It'll be held at, not here, but at the First Baptist Church of Warrington. You may have heard of this a few times in past services. It's a collection of, 18 different churches, I believe that's the number, from all in the different parts of Pensacola. So it's finally coming up, again, April 28th, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Be sure to register ahead of time just to save a little bit of effort when you go in there. And actually, you'll hear more about it today. All right, and looks like the last one I have, Earth Stars will be holding its 3rd annual Earth Blessing Ritual next Sunday, the 26th. What's going on next week? There'll be also after service from 11:30 to 12. We invite the congregation to participate, and chairs will be provided to those who need to sit. They want to add that normally it's going to be held outside in the garden area, but today's a little iffy, and who knows, April showers and stuff. So it's a little tentative for next week if it's going to be outside or in the sanctuary, but regardless, it's next week. I guess that's it. Alrighty. All right. Next, I'm going to invite Lauren up to light our chalice as I read some words. Okay, good. This is called The Great Turning by Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name. Thank you. Alrighty, and now we'll just have some centering music, just take a little bit of time to decompress over the busy week we just had, and just relax for a little bit, get in the zone as we play some music. Well, thank you. Alrighty. And now for our opening words. This is an excerpt from Prophetic Faith in a Time of Moral Crisis by Side with Love. The struggles we face are not merely political debates. They are moral and material battles over who belongs, who is protected, and whose lives matter. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, in a quote, "The church must be reminded that it is not the master or the servant of the state, but rather the conscience of the state. It must be the guide and the critic of the state and never its tool. If the church does not recapture its prophetic zeal, it will become an irrelevant social club without moral or spiritual authority." Unitarian Universalists have a long history of showing up in movements for justice, and we are continually called to deepen and renew our commitment to mutuality and our collective thriving. All right, I'm now going to invite the choir up and everyone in the sanctuary, if you're willing and able to stand and join us for our opening song. It is number 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. Thank you. And if you remain standing, we'll now recite our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you, and you may be seated. All righty, today's a little different, a little out of morning. Again, like I said, every week's a new experience. And today, as you see on screen, we're going to recognize our new friend and members. So she's already walking up here. I'm going to invite Lauren to go through the process.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to be speaking. Good morning on beautiful Earth Day. Every day is Earth Day, right? I'm going to be speaking with y'all here in a little bit, but I'm also the membership team leader, and today we're going to be welcoming some new friends and members. And let's see, is Lori out there somewhere to help me out? Okay, good. So I always need Lori Winterberg because she's wonderful. We have several new, you know what I just realized? I did not bring papers into this room because I was so focused on doing my service. Scott, can you do me a favor? Go into the membership mailbox in the office, and there's like a stack of handouts in there, and bring them to me. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're going to welcome some new, we have a new friend, although I'm kind of scanning. It's hard to focus on people when you're up here sometimes. But so I'm going to go ahead and advance the slide one time. So is Julie Patton here with us today? I know she told me she was coming. I just texted her this morning. Well, anyway, some of you know Julie Patton. Sometimes she arrives late to things, so we'll be very gracious with her. Don't hoot and holler and cheer when she comes in the way you did when I came up here. I don't think she would like that either. But Julie Patton has been attending. She used to also attend with us regularly when we were over on Scott Street, and she's been around and in and out, and she's given some talks here, but she recently decided to be a member. She's also a regular participant at Christ Church as well. Thank you so much. Yes, great. That's good. Okay, so we would recognize her by having her stand, but she's not here. So if you do see her as she sneaks in at some point, just say maybe to her after the service, welcome as a new friend. And we'll advance the slide now. We have several folks that are being welcomed in membership. Some of them I don't think are here this morning. Some of them I know I've seen. So Jackie Grice, I don't think she made it. She's had some health issues recently. Kate Nelson-Dooley, I know, is here. If I could get you to come up. Jimmy and Lee, we're going to come all the way up to the front. Come all the way up to the front. Sorry, yeah, y'all. So for members, we're going to say some words and everything together. And hold your applause if you would, because we got several, and then we're going to cheer and make noise after they've all done their thing. Philip Smith, is he here today? Yeah, wonderful. He wasn't able to join us a couple months back when we had the member ceremony. Beth Stubbs, I don't think I've seen her this morning. She just joined. And then Jax and Matt are in Disney with the kids. So they're not going to be here today. But they've recently joined. So what I always try to do is roll over anyone who wasn't able to be here this morning and invite them next time, even though some of them have been members for some time. They just, timing didn't work out with them being able to be here at the ceremony. If you would take one and pass it down. So our new members recite words that they have their back to the screen, of course, and then we're going to have some things we recite together. If you've been here a minute, you know how this goes. So we'll go ahead and advance to the next slide. And as a congregation, we'll say together, we warmly welcome you into membership. We are glad you have chosen to join us. We know that the ideas, energies, resources, and commitments which each of you bring will greatly enrich our vibrant and growing community. And then the new members.
Today we celebrate entering membership with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pensacola. We bring to the community our strengths, our limitations, and our unique desires. We ask for a place of love and encouragement as we find our way among you. We are glad to be here.
Awesome. And then all of us together. We commit ourselves to an ever-increasing understanding of right relations among us. We value honesty, direct speaking, and courtesy in our conflict, courage in our speech, and integrity in our action. We hold one another accountable to our very best intentions. May we be true to ourselves, true to each other, and true to the vision of the beloved community we are ever becoming. Wonderful. Now we can cheer. Lovely. And Lori will help with the beading, B-E-A-D-I-N-G, of the new members. And they get to wear some beads so we can greet them after the service and welcome them. And then the other thing to know for the new members, who are so distracted right now, But there are some stickers and some small gifts right here as you're exiting. If you want to grab a couple of things, we got those UU ovals that people like to put on their car, and you get those for free as new members. And anyone who joined recently or just hasn't grabbed one, if there's anything left on this table, it's a chair. I couldn't find a little table. Please grab one, before you leave today. But thank you all so much. It's one of the great joys of me being the membership team leader to get to welcome new faces and new folks, and to get to know new people, and to bring them into our congregation, and to have y'all's contributions and just your friendship and your participation. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. When I remember to bring it.
Congratulations, Al.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and welcome again to our new members. All right, now is our time in our service called Joys and Sorrows. This is a time where you can come up and share, if you like, what's going on in your life, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between. This part of the service is not recorded, it's not broadcast, not shared anywhere except within these walls with the people who are here today. So if you'd like to join and share something today, you're welcome to line up on either side of the sanctuary. We'll hand you the microphone, tell us your name, and briefly what's going on. And then when you're done, you see this little bowl of water and these stones. You take a stone and you drop it in the water. It's symbolic. So, yes. But first, I will light, we used to have lighting of candles, and it's still ingrained in my memory too. But I will drop the first stone, representing all the big picture, all the stuff going on in the world. It's a big stone. Maybe I'll even grab a big stone. All right. All right. We are now going to have a time for all ages, a video.
The Book Bugs presents The Rainbow Fish by Marcus Pfister, and as read by me, Annie Oprah. A long way out in the deep blue sea there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. "Come on, Rainbow Fish," they would call. "Come and play with us." But the Rainbow Fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. One day, a little blue fish followed after him.
Rainbow Fish,
He called,
wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They are so wonderful, and you have so many.
You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are?
cried the Rainbow Fish.
Get away from me.
Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset, he told all his friends what had happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the Rainbow Fish. They turned away when he swam by. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day, he poured out his troubles to the starfish.
I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anybody like me?
I can answer that for you.
Said the starfish.
But if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you'll find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you.
The Rainbow Fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then suddenly, two eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the darkness.
"I've been waiting for you."
Said the octopus with a deep voice.
"The waves told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy."
I can't.
The Rainbow Fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared into a dark cloud of ink. Give away my scales? My beautiful shining scales? Never! How could I ever be happy without them? Suddenly, he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back.
Rainbow Fish, please don't be angry. I just want one little scale.
The Rainbow Fish wavered. Only one very, very small shimmery scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. Carefully, the Rainbow Fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish.
Thank you very much.
The little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in among his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over the Rainbow Fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing, so it didn't take long before the Rainbow Fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The Rainbow Fish shared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he had laughed, felt at home among the other fish. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shiny scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away, yet he was very happy. "Come on, rainbow fish," they called. "Come and play with us."
Here I come.
Said the rainbow fish, and happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. Please don't forget to
Alrighty, let's now sing the children out to their children's care. Alrighty, now is the time of the service where we ask for money. While we always take, volunteer time for time, talent, and treasure, now it's time for treasure. And being that we are a lay-led congregation, we gotta, all the funding that makes this place run is entirely from us. So I'm going to ask the ushers to pass the baskets around, and I forget, is this choir too? And I'm going to invite the choir, and we're going to have some music as that happens. And we got, again, we'll have the basket passed around, and we'll have information on screen if you'd like to give digitally or through other means. Thank you. Yeah. Alrighty. Today's speaker is, in fact, one of our very own, a longtime member of UUCP. Today, she will be discussing how we, as UUs, are called to engage our moral imagination and values while building a world of vibrant, courageous, and caring communities. Please help me welcome, once again, Dr. Lauren Ansaldo.
Thank y'all. So my talk will come in a second, but I had this idea that I wanted to raise up the screen, because I don't know how many of you come regularly, and of course we usually have the screen down and we have projection, technology and everything like that, and the technology is really wonderful. But for most of my time attending this church, 17 years now, we would look at this beautiful quilt right here and get to see that every Sunday morning. And the quilt is really cool. I don't know the full story. Maybe Kate or Lori can kind of share more. I know what I remember, but I don't have the dates and all that. But it's a project of the congregation of folks outlining their hands and cutting them out. So it's made up of all the hands of the folks that were a member of the congregation or visitors or whatever were here at that time, put it together, and of course it forms a chalice, which is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, which represents shining, light and truth out into the world, and also seeking and curiosity and the things that light represents. So I just really think it's important for us to recognize that we have a very long and vibrant history here as a congregation, and that we're individuals, but we together make up a very strong and powerful community. And, just to be able to have this symbol of, oneness, coming together in unity, and also the beauty and the colors, and not only representing us as a congregation, but also representing our UU symbol of the chalice. So I just really wanted to have that up for today, and something for us to kind of look at and meditate upon. It's great to have the screen and all the information that's projected there, but really the quilt is carries its own information and its own data and its own message for us. So I just really wanted to draw attention to that. And we're going to leave that up. I'm not doing photos or slides or anything like that. So I'm going to transition into my talk. Toward the end of his Sunday service talk in January, you might remember that our own Joe Vinson invited us all to bow our heads while he made a little wavy gesture with his hand. Then he declared, "Congratulations, it's official. You're all prophets now. Go talk to God. Let me know what you hear back. We can compare notes." So I'm asking today, how did it go? As a recently appointed modern-day prophet, did you enter into conversation with the divine? Have you been seeking higher guidance to help you live and act in alignment with your deeply held morals? Have you engaged in any prophecy about where we are and where we are going as a people? Have you spent any time lately exercising your moral imagination, visioning a future that is more just, more equitable, generous, and loving, and that enables you to make your faith visible in the world? We're all watching global events, likely with dread, fear, shock, anger, confusion, paralysis, around the world, around the nation, around the state, even right here in our county, our city, and our church. Things are not quite as we would like them to be. But we mustn't forget that we are a part of this world we're living in, and we have the ability to bring our force to bear upon it just as well as anyone else. We create realities through our actions, and our actions then open up opportunities for others to act. Nowhere is this more apparent and more possible than right here in our congregation. It can begin with our moral imagination. Moral imagination is the capacity to envision a more just and compassionate world, to interpret tradition in ways that speak to the lived realities of today, and to courageously reimagine the relevant role of faith in public life. This is according to Bill Petrarca, president of UU Justice Florida. He continues, "Moral imagination is the prophetic lens through which our leaders discern not only what is, but what could be." Today's opening reading quoted the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's 1964 sermon known as A Knock at Midnight. King warned, "If the church does not recapture its prophetic zeal, it will become an irrelevant social club without moral or spiritual authority." The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s forced the world to face a national crisis of racist hate, violence, and disenfranchisement. As societal ruptures of the period underscored the need for accountability, reparation, and healing, King observed places of worship that were lacking in the moral integrity that the situation required. These churches were not much different from country clubs. Parishioners were focused on socializing, networking, making connections, and making friends, performative gestures, replicating systems of power and not challenging them. Whatever words they were mouthing, their actions did not reflect the commitment to justice, mercy, and humility that was decreed by the Old Testament prophet Micah. King and other civil rights leaders like Daisy Bates and Diane Nash activated their moral imagination. They were able to imagine something rooted in love and justice, even while they were surrounded by fear and injustice, to paraphrase the UU minister, Reverend Kathleen McTeague. Daisy Bates was a journalist and NAACP leader in Little Rock, Arkansas, who envisioned desegregated public schools, which did not exist and were vehemently opposed in the city at the time. Bates provided guidance and encouragement to the Little Rock Nine, the black students who, under federal order, integrated the previously all-white Central High School in 1957. Even as her life were threatened and crosses literally burned on her lawn, Bates devoted herself to helping those young people maintain stability and safety against soul-crushing odds. Daisy Bates imagined and articulated a time to come when black residents of Little Rock could live with dignity and free from harm. Diane Nash was an activist and strategist who pioneered nonviolent action, even while most people thought it was ineffective and foolish. Nash was a founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, and a leader with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. It was Nash who helped to desegregate lunch counters through a series of intense sit-ins in 1960 and voting rights for black residents of Selma, Alabama, which led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. During a period of upheaval, Nash saw what could be and what should be and acted accordingly in line with her faith. That's how we know it's commitment, because you do it when it's hard. Today, we are again in a period of national crisis. Crisis is scary and chaotic, but it is also full of possibility to create something entirely new. In fact, it may be the best time to go a new way. However, we see that plenty of self-proclaimed religious people and regular churchgoers are not rising to meet this moment of urgency in the manner of Daisy Bates and Diane Nash. Whether due to fear, complacency, or ignorance, folks with plenty of good intentions are short on moral imagination and prophetic zeal. Moral imagination has to be cultivated over time, and morals develop most distinctly when they are visible, embodied. According to one columnist, liberty and justice must be fleshed out in the places we call home. Communal spaces like this church are one place where morality is taught. In that January Sunday service that I mentioned earlier, Joe told us that religion is what we do together, an expression of our faith and morals. In fact, for many of us UUs, inside of our congregation may be the only place where we feel that morality can truly flourish, since we are so often let down by the world outside. According to the theologian Andrew Thayer, the church is meant to be a school of love, not love as sentiment, not love as tolerance, love as agape, self-giving, self-emptying, unconcerned with return. As UUs, our faith is centered around love and 6 core shared values: interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity. Values and morals are related. Values are the why, morals are the what, the behaviors that reflect the values. Valuing honesty leads to a prohibition against lying and cheating. Valuing generosity looks like contributing and sharing, like rainbow fish in the story. Valuing justice shows up as advocacy and activism. When we live congruently like this, with our moral actions matching our stated values, we feel whole and fulfilled. Our lives can feel aligned and purposeful. But there are moments when there are no good choices, or there are too many. UUA President Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt tells us. Still, we need to decide, she continues. This is when ethics matter, when having a system of values for decision-making helps us to understand the impossible. According to a recent article by UUs for Social Justice, we want the covenants we hold with each other to be held among our broader society. But when the values that are expressed are out of line with the actions taken, we experience distress. When the value of liberty arrives as masked federal agents arresting seniors and school children and killing American citizens in broad daylight, we rightfully suffer. This suffering is known as moral injury, which is much too big a topic to fully go into right now, except in the briefest sense. Moral injury is often seen among military members who sign on to one set of promises and then are deployed to carry out a whole host of political machinations. And moral injury can occur in our congregations when we watch an organization that espouses the values of interdependence and love, prioritizing some people's wants over the safety and emotional well-being of many others. The path toward moral healing involves naming the injury, receiving support, engaging in reflection, compassion, and forgiveness, and realigning values and actions. Daisy Bates and Diane Nash were certainly exceptional in their accomplishments and dedication to justice. But at the end of the day, they were human beings not much different from you and me. We can learn from them and many others, such as our own beloved UUCP member, the late Jim Barrett, a champion for reproductive rights and an escort at the Women's Clinic, who was shot by an anti-abortion terrorist in 1994. We follow their examples, not just the successes, but more so the challenges they endured. We recognize that Bates and Nash and Barrett did extremely hard things. They sacrificed and took risks courageously. They demonstrated moral courage, which is doing the right thing even when it's difficult and unpopular. Moral courage is driven by empathy. Empathy, of course, is about putting ourselves in another person's place, seeing things from their perspective, and appreciating their humanity. Bates, Nash, and Barrett were moved to act with courage because they valued the lives and the vision they were working toward. In his talk last week on miracles and wonder, Tom Botsford reminded us that the Christian doctrine that humans are created in God's image is the origin of humanism, the belief that all lives have value, which is also the foundation of liberal religion. Empathy is being criticized lately, which makes sense because caring about others is inconvenient for the powerful, who would rather keep us all divided. Americans are led to believe that we are unencumbered, autonomous individuals, free of moral obligations and community attachments. Interconnectedness certainly interferes with the concept of the unencumbered self, detached from others and not responsible to anyone. Philosopher Michael Sandel argues against the unencumbered self, since identity is fundamentally formed by community, history, and inherited loyalties. We are born with ties. Likewise, our UU faith is rooted in covenant, which expresses our commitments to one another. And it's time we act like we really believe in the imperative of those connections. Like Dr. King's warning from the opening words, Bill Pacharka of UU Justice Florida cautions that our UU congregations are adrift and lacking in moral imagination. Many of us have resigned ourselves to what is instead of thinking beyond it. We turn inward and focus on survival and don't bother ourselves with what's happening past our own bodies or past our own walls. These are not the conditions for moral formation, which the theologian Andrew Thayer defines as the slow, stubborn shaping of desire, the retraining of attention, the embodied practice of forgiveness and restraint and courage. Moral formation is slow and deliberate work. Thayer continues, democracy and faith require thick, inconvenient, relational communities to survive. Conversation is a beginning. Covenant is something harder. It requires presence, obligation, patience, forgiveness, and the willingness to remain bound together when agreement collapses. To let our moral imagination burn out now is not just inconvenient, it could be devastating for this country, for our neighbors, for Unitarian Universalism and other liberal religions. Our fellow UUs and those of us who want this country and this congregation to live up to its possibilities, those of us trying to align our values and our morals, are yearning for communities and leaders that can deliver courage as well as comfort, transformation, not just tradition and more of the same. As UUA staff member Natalie Briscoe says, people want to go where they can leave the world behind and build a better one. A recent UU World Magazine piece by Kathy Sigel noted that there is a real hunger for spiritual nurturing and strong community action. In the face of greed, hatred, and violence, people are asking big questions about what it all means and what comes next. Moments like these are pregnant with possibility for transformational change. A moral reckoning is upon us, and we have to decide once and for all what kind of world we will live in. If we do not feed that hunger right here and now and provide a place for asking and answering these questions in the context of our moral principles, we will miss out on this critical opportunity and lose our moral authority and our relevance. As UUs, we have an important perspective to contribute to this movement beyond just political analysis. The UU minister, Fred L. Hammond, acknowledges that liberal religious folks tend to shy away from being evangelical regarding our faith. Yet it is important that our message is heard in the marketplace of ideas. And Lauren Jackson of the New York Times Believing newsletter noted, religion has been thinking about poverty, power, suffering, and justice for a very long time, and it has something to offer contemporary politics that purely secular frameworks do not. JUST Pensacola is one organization that brings the moral authority of faith communities to bear in the realm of justice. I know we've heard about it and we've been attending, but it's really important to make these connections. JUST Pensacola is Justice United Seeking Transformation in Pensacola, which is an interfaith coalition, Ian reminded us, 18 congregations in our local area that work together to hold decision makers accountable for implementing effective solutions for justice in our community. And there's really nothing like it. I mean, there are no interfaith coalitions centered around justice in our community at all. Churches get together for lots of reasons, Baptist churches, Methodist churches, whatever, but to have an interfaith with Jewish, have been Muslim, Christian UUs involved, there's nothing like it at all. UUs have been involved with JUST Pensacola since the founding 8 years ago. Our congregation's participation is one example of how we activate our moral imagination in pursuit of a better world. JUST Pensacola's major event is the Nehemiah Action, which was announced this morning. Again, it's Tuesday, April 28th, 6 p.m. at First Baptist Church of Warrington. The focus this year is on mental health services, an important issue for many of us and many of our neighbors. We'll also hear updates on the other topics that we've been tracking for the past few years, which are affordable housing and criminal justice. Our church's goal is to bring 80 people to join with hundreds of others so we can show the elected officials how many people of faith care deeply about these issues. Last year, there were somewhere close to 800 people in attendance, and many UUs, of course, were there. And I hope you can be there. I'll be there. My family will be there. There are Nehemiah Action flyers around the sanctuary and posted throughout the building with information on the back about the mental health focus for this year as well. The Nehemiah Action, if you don't know your Old Testament prophets, which I don't really, other than a couple that I've brushed up on, the prophet Nehemiah advocated for the people of Jerusalem, stood against apathy, and led a rebuilding effort in 444 BCE. Themes of Nehemiah's story include empathy, community building, compassion, and action rather than passivity. Not to just let things happen to us, but to take action directly in our own outcomes. Participating in the Nehemiah Action allows us the chance to put our faith and our morals on display. By showing up, we publicly demonstrate the alignment between our actions and our expressed UU values like justice, interdependence, and generosity. Two religious studies professors, Charles Matthews and Paul David Jones, assert our deepest commitments are better off being visible and legible to the world. For not to know about these commitments is not to know something civically important about us. The Moral Fusion movement, I've talked about it multiple times, known as Our Moral Moment, co-led by Bishop William Barber and Minister Jonathan Wilson Hartgrove, regularly post about bringing our deepest moral convictions into the public sphere. In a recent column, they noted that every expansion of democracy we have ever experienced, every stride toward a more perfect union, has been fueled by moral movements. And that really caused me to pause. I want you to think about that. Every step forward in this country has been the result of people of principle speaking out and taking action, making sacrifices and tough decisions, like Daisy Bates, Diane Nash, Jim Barrett, putting their lives on the line literally to drive forward a goal, a mission, something that was deeply personal and important to them and to many others. UUs have been an integral part of these movements in the past, and we must stake our claim today as well. In the words of our moral moment, it's time to stop rehearsing what others before us have done and declare what we will do. It's time to talk about who we are. UUA President Sophia Betancourt, in her State of the Association speech, this is a recent thing you can see online. I don't know if any of you follow UUA as closely as I do, but she just recently released the State of the UU Association speech. She said, "We must continue to show up boldly, unapologetically, in our UU identity, clearly proclaiming Unitarian Universalism as a religious tradition in this country with a powerful moral voice." May our moral voice be heard in our country, in our community, and in our congregation.
All right, while we wait for this to finish scrolling down, I'm going to invite the choir back up again. We'll have our closing song. As you see, the lyrics are on screen. Oh, and you're welcome to stand if you'd like to join us.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change of life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the web. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change of life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the web. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Yay.
I want to take a moment to add to Lauren's presentation. The history of our church is only passed down many times by our words. Penny Featherstone was the woman who had the vision of our quilt many years ago, and Penny is the one that envisioned and made that happen with other members of our congregation. Blessed be.
All right, we'll wrap this up with our closing words. These are from words by Mikhail Bakunin, if I pronounced that correctly. Freedom, morality, and human dignity consist precisely in this, that we do good not because we are forced to do so, but because we freely conceive doing good, want to do good, and love doing good. Thank you, and go in peace.